Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today, I have with us some special guests. First, I have Daniel Isabella. He is an actor, writer, and producer, and also I have his partner, Ellison Winterstein. He's a director, writer, and editor, and they are the creators of an amazing production company called Evil Twin Digital. Daniel, Ellison, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, we did it
that,
right.
Yep, that was
weird. That was going to happen.
Yeah, that'll happen a few times, I'm sure.
So I had a chance to look up, digital twin. Evil Twin Digital. It's an amazing production company. Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, me. Okay. I don't know how far back we go. It started as a short film YouTube channel I did back when I was in high school. And then in college, I met Daniel through a student group we were in. We went to Michigan State University.
Okay.
And we met through a student group called MSU Telecasters, which is, it's not like a cabal, really, exactly, but like if you ever look it up, you'll notice people from it in entertainment things throughout the world. It's kind of interesting if you look at the alumni list. It's like, oh, that random best boy. Oh, that Marvel shows like Office people, not even that, but like people going back because it's been around since like the 80s. But we met through that, and then we met the rest of people we've worked with and the various team members that we've worked with for a while now. We met through a lot of them through that, and then we just kind of started making things because I was making stuff with like people I knew, and after bringing Daniel on, Daniel leading with he's a producer, like he was very good at being like, you could do more with this if it was organized. Like if you wrote more stuff down and like, because I was doing everything, and he was like, if I do the writing down and the calling, then
I can just call everybody and then they'll show up.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to be everyone on the crew.
Yeah.
You're like, what? You're like, wow, that's amazing.
and then people liked the work and they kept coming on, and then it's transitioned now. We had at our peak, we had 10 main members, and then several of those folks went out to Los Angeles, where they are seeking their fortunes now, and we are in Atlanta right now, and then we have a few members. We have one who is still in Lansing right now, Catherine Anger, and then we have another member, Emma Sheldon, who is she's in Florida right now.
Yeah, Orlando.
She works for Disney right now, so she's
nice.
She's not doing as much. She does some editing stuff, but she has a bigger thing to be doing right now. So yeah, we're at this current stage based in Atlanta and Lansing mostly, but it's been fun because it travels with its members and is a constantly changing thing based on whatever we all decide to do.
Yeah, so we have over our past. I just got a LinkedIn announcement that I've been working for Evil Twin Digital for 3 years the other day. So over the past 3 years that we've been officially a production company, that we've been a joint venture on paper and all of that. We've done 5 feature films. Last time I counted, it was 16 released shorts. I may have that number wrong because it fluctuates. None of our 5 feature films have fully released yet. We've done a couple of limited screenings and things like that. One is out on the festival circuit right now, so we're waiting to hear back from folks. The other, House on the Lake, will be going out soon. That's the first one that was a horror feature.
I have to do notes on that tonight.
Yeah,
so that's where we're at.
And yeah, we started making stuff. I was. Like Elsa said, we just kind of ran into each other. We first collaborated on a Christmas short film that was like 10 minutes long called A Very Merry Christmas Party, where 2 robbers... I've always described it as Ferris Bueller's Day Off meets Home Alone, where 2 robbers haphazardly get foiled by a teenager who stays home and throws a party at his house on Christmas. It is very silly. It's a wonderful time, and really is a genesis for a lot of what we did.
We met a lot of people there.
We met a lot of people on that short that then one of those one of those, or both of those robbers ended up in our House on the Lake coming later, doing all sorts of creature work for us, doing all sorts of different roles. So there is like, you can look at that and see, oh, most of the people on this are sprinkled throughout everything else.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have done those bajillion things, and over that time kind of refined why it is we want to make stuff. We want to make sure that there is both a ethical element on the producing side of making sure our workers are treated fairly far beyond what standard operations are in the film industry. We've both done jobs for people there, and like the idea that you'll get your call sheet the night before and you have to be ready for that, and you only know what you're doing 24 hours in advance, for any other job in the world would be absurd, but we put up with it. But if your producers just worked a little harder, which I do, you could get it 2 weeks in advance, like a schedule for any other job. And not to throw shade, but it's possible, and everyone told me it was impossible, and then we did it on 5 movies.
And then it happens.
Like wham.
Yeah, you just gotta set your standards higher. So on that angle, being ethical to our workers, and also making sure we have like the diversity and inclusive elements that a lot of our stuff is inspired by genre, and some of that especially in the 80s and 90s doesn't have the greatest track record on.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. We love a lot of those movies, but
I'm wearing a zombie flesh eaters shirt right now, and that movie is great. It's racist as hell. Like, like you can love the movie, and it's like that's bad. Like,
yeah. So making sure we also take that element in.
I was about to say, majority of the movies that I fell in love with in the 80s, especially horror, are racist and misogynistic and homophobic and every single thing else, but like we still love them, for what they were at the time.
It's I'm sure we'll get into it more, but I mean part of the fun of making things now as like, I don't even want to say just as people, but like trying to like listen to what you want to see in something. Like part of the fun of that is like looking at things you enjoy and being like, okay, like what do I enjoy about this, but I would want not to be there. Like in working on, I'm sure we'll get to, but like in the slasher feature that we did,
Shock Jockey Massacre coming soon.
We did a big list when we were writing it of like, what are things we love about slashers and what are the things that we don't like? And even down to the nitty gritty of like, I've seen a lot of slasher movies. I love them. I love them so much. Mm-hmm. But like, I hate naked corpses. Like, I don't like the thing of a lot of slasher movies. Yeah, where they will have a naked woman run around and then be murdered, and then they'll keep her naked body around for like a long time. That's weird to me. Like, that person doesn't have agency now that they're dead. Like, if they want to show up when they're alive, they can. But like, if they're dead, it's like, that's weird. I don't like that. Yeah. So that was a weird, like, that was a thing when we were writing, like an example of like, we're not doing that. Like, we're making it. We can choose not to. Like, that's the fun of making stuff now and having all those references is like, you aren't beholden to being like, well, we're doing a thing like the 80s. So like, you gotta have homophobia. Like, you can just not put it in the movie.
Cut it out of there.
But one thing about the 80s horror movies, and I've said this many times, they went to as far as have disabled characters in their horror movies. And like, but if you look from the 90s on, you look at the Scream movies, and you're sitting there like, wow, you're telling me there's not one disabled student at Columbia University? Like everybody looks like a model walking around?
Yeah. That's a thing of like, I don't know, that not that we lost realism, but like we definitely like you were saying, like with the disability aspect and also the sheen of everything, like the sheen part is something that like we thankfully we avoid immediately. Not that our actors are not attractive people, but like we're real.
Yeah.
Like we all work day jobs, so like that element, it just kind of naturally is in things again. And the disability front That's an interesting one because it's something that I'm not as personally aware of in my life. And like hearing you say that, it's like, oh, that's right. Like I hadn't thought about that. Right. Like, you know, that's kind of like with most of these though, where it's like you're unaware of things outside of your personal experience until like someone points it out to you, which is, you know, as you know, is why it's important to have friends who
also talk about movies.
Talk about movies, but also aren't like you.
Also aren't like you.
That was what I was going with.
Yeah,
Both.
Now you talk about experiences that you both had working on other sets, and it helped you to be like, you know, boy, I hate this shit. So when I start my own, but weren't those experiences important though?
Oh, absolutely. I would not have even dreamt about being producer if I didn't spend hours on a set wishing that the producer had done work. And these are like student sets and like the really like the things you do as you're learning how to do this where no one really knows what they're doing.
We fucked up. We're not saying like we're
fucked up. Totally. In the filming of this movie, I learned a lot of things about like, oh, I can't have people do overnight shoots 8 days in a row. Like
we set our hours limit after that.
Yeah, we said, oh, we're never gonna do shoots that are more than 12 hours. Really, we never do over 8.
We do 8 paid, 6 unpaid. We set that limit after the movie. We were like, there was a night where everyone was dying. Like people were taking naps on the floor, and we looked around. We were just like, we gotta call it. Like no one's. This isn't work anymore. Everyone's like.
Everyone's exhausted because we were also students, so we were doing that and then going to school the next day.
Jason Durnay, this actor. Okay, you have never met this man. He's a wonderful person.
Lovely man.
Wonderful person. He was doing this movie. He was playing the bad guy. He was playing the killer. So he's in a ton of it. He was finishing up his college degree and he was working 2 jobs. And he didn't tell anyone that.
He didn't tell us he was working the jobs until like a week and a half into production.
It was maybe later. He was just like, we were just like, how are you doing? And he was like, I'm okay. I slept in my car in the parking lot. And we were like, what? Like, why? He's like, I didn't have time from coming back from Whole Foods to coming to the shoot. And I was just like, Jason, have you been sleeping this whole time? And he was like, I get a couple hours. It's like, oh my God, we wouldn't do that to you if we didn't know. We didn't know that was
a guy. But that's incredible work ethic, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's an amazing man. If anyone watches this and ever has him come across, hire him. Pay him money.
Yes.
He's great.
He's wonderful.
He's a fabulous actor.
Fabulous actor, can do dramatic roles, comedy roles, creature work,
crazy.
Yeah, anything across the board.
Yeah.
So what made you jump into the horror? I want to say realm because it's my show, but what made you decide to, you know what, let's do horror?
Fully this guy. When I met him, I hated horror movies. I did not watch them, was not interested at all. That has changed.
It's interesting because like I have an interesting I think a lot of horror people like grow up with horror. Like, you know, like a parent or like a friend or someone like introduces it to you at a young age. I did not have that. Like I got horror late. Like I was like a teenager before I started seeing stuff and enjoying it. And then I ended up enjoying it. And then it was like in college I was starting to like, so I got to a lot of the classics late. Like I didn't see Nightmare on Elm Street until I was like 19. Like, you know, like I was getting to them a lot later than normal, which meant that I was like, my love of it was very fresh. Like a lot of this stuff wasn't like a known fact to me. I was like, guys, did you know Halloween is great? Like, let me tell you about this movie. It wasn't like a fact of life. It was just like, I saw this thing the other day. Have you seen Friday the 13th Part 6? It's really good. Like, so
it's the best one, right?
It's the best one. It's the best one. Anyway, I've been to the cemetery from that movie, by the way. It's really cool.
Nice.
I found it on vacation with my partner, and she was like, you know, this was in a Friday the 13th movie. And I was like, oh yeah, it was. They do a chase here. No, so it was very fresh on my mind. And then we met through comedy, working on comedy. Like Very Merry Christmas Party it's a comedy. Yeah. And like, did I say the wrong one or? No, I said the right one. Okay.
We've done a couple of Christmas shorts with long titles, and we always mix them up.
We always mix them up. So we met through like our love of like comedy and musical theater, and then it started to, like my horror thing I started to like share it with him and be like, well, this isn't what you think it is. Like I've always had I've had this opinion of like horror doesn't have to be scary. Like I love old Universal stuff and like Vincent Price movies, and like so sharing this thing and being like no, like it could be just fun. Like it doesn't have to make you feel like gross or like ooh I feel bad. It's like it can just be enjoyable. And like that, especially because like showing him Scream, he loves Scream. Like
Scream series is great.
So wonderful movie.
So that
I started on Scream 4, which was an odd choice. But
that's not a good choice.
He happened to be watching it for the first time, and I just sat down and was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I was like, "This is pretty good." And then he was like, "Oh, we gotta start."
There's better ones. Like
way better. Better. Yes.
But so then it just kept spreading, and then eventually it became this thing of like, once we were working longer and longer. I mean, part of the fun of Evil Twin Digital was like, we were only beholden to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so like people like we're not big on the production end stuff of auteur theory, where it's like, oh, like a director can like do whatever they want and torture people and like that stuff's stupid. Don't do that. Like it's bad. It hurts people. But like the idea of people having like, I have a vision for a very unique thing. Like we love that.
Yeah.
Like we produce stuff for other people through Evil Twin. Like if you go on the website or the YouTube, you can find that stuff. Where it's like sometimes it's like someone will be like, I have this project, and we're kind of like, we don't get it, but do it.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
It's cool. Like
people will get you
go
equipment.
for it. Like why not? Like
go ahead.
And so that meant like once we were making stuff and we had enough resources, like with Shock Jockey Massacre, that was like being like, I'd like to direct a slasher movie. I would like to direct a pure-blooded slasher movie that's like set in the modern day, but has the sensibilities of like late 70s, early 80s, like, but with the stuff I like. Who wants to? Does anyone else want to do that? And then Daniel and two other people were like, I'd like to write that. And then
we all sat down.
Yeah, Noah Bosch, Harrison Norwig. We sat down, we outlined it, and we wrote the movie. And then we were like, oh, we should make it now. And then we were like,
a year later, finally got the location.
And then we did it. It took a long time.
That part was all during COVID, so we had to. The location kept going. Oh well, quarantine will be up in 2 weeks, so you can come film here. And then
again, pushing back.
Yeah, but like, that's how it is. And then it's like that's just the fun stuff. I mean, with horror especially, it's like, I mean, it's my favorite genre to watch. Like, we love everything. Like, we're big Nora Ephron people, also. Like, we love her. Like, we'll do anything. We watch 30s rom-coms a lot. Like, we're roommates. We should say that part.
Yeah.
But, like, we watch 30s rom-coms a lot where we're just like, you want to watch The Lady Eve starring Henry Fonda and Barbara Stanwyck?
A nearly perfect movie.
A nearly perfect movie. But, like, when it comes to horror, it's just like, it's like you see something, you feel like doing it, or you're like, oh, it would be cool to do this, but blank. And then it's just the fun of being able to make stuff is like, oh, all right, well, so let's go do it.
So tell us a little bit about Shock Jock Massacre. By the way, that's an amazing title.
Thank you. We so we had a couple of inspiration pieces on it that we were looking at that we were like, oh, well, we saw this and we played this, and like these things all kind of have this vibe that we really like, and we had this our college radio station, Impact 89 FM, MSU's college radio station, wonderful place.
Great place. I worked there for a year.
Yeah,
fantastic spot.
And we were in there all the time when we were in college, and we were saying, hey, this would be an awesome location for a movie. Like, especially if we could really base something here that would, like, there's a lot of, like, dynamicness to the space. It's looks
got these
really
great,
cool.
Like, neon-y lights. It's got, like, windows, like, up high to the outside. Like,
nice.
People got these offices with, like, tons of stuff. It's great.
And so we picked that as our, like, main setting for this movie, and kind of crafted the narrative around that. And it was the big moment of, because I think we wrote this feature before we'd produced any of them.
Yeah,
by
we wrote
a decent amount.
Yeah.
This was the first major like thing Evil Twin Digital did after making that Christmas short was take on the writing of this movie.
Yeah, and then after that, after we wrote it, we did a short called Naked, which is a comedy short it was like 20, 25 minutes, and it's like that solidified a lot of our like production stylings of like how we wanted to make things, especially when we were up in Michigan. And having written the short that summer before we produced Naked solidified we can make this movie. Yeah. Like,
if we can make a 20-minute short in a week, we can make a movie over a month. And yeah, so we had that script that was where all those ideas of like Ellison said, of the like making that list of the things we want to get rid of, where we really solidified those kind of core values of what we want in filmmaking.
Which it was really fun because, like, especially with slashers, where it was like we had a thing where we're like, okay, not that we're opposed to it in like any movie, like it's not in a way where we're like, oh, like this is always bad, but we were like, we want to do an 80s style slasher that doesn't have any sex or nudity, not in a way where it's like, oh, it's bad, but just like it's always kind of there. Like, let's just do one without.
Yeah,
like for fun. We did that. We were like, okay, we're gonna have a focus on like there's kills, but like we're gonna focus kind of on like saving people from the bad guy instead of like just watching the bad guy get people. Like
there is always an element of this person could make it out.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Not to give too much, but like some of them do.
Yeah.
There is not, this killer is not like, he's not Michael Myers. He's not, once he gets his hand on you, you are dead. He's a human person.
Yeah, there's now that element of like we're like 55 minutes or like an hour and 10 into the movie, and like Jed goes after his missing girlfriend into the barn, and you're just like, well, Jed's fucking dead. Like, like you know, you want to like by that point in ours, we were hoping like, okay, other people made it out. This person might also make it out. Like instead of it being like, all right, let's see how that pitchfork's from the corner from earlier. Okay, we know where this is going. Like
we try to make it so that there's always an element of surprise to every character throughout, that whether they live or die is up in the air up until the moment that the movie ends.
And part of the fun also was at no point is it like, we're doing archetypes for comedy. Like all the jokes we tried to write diegetically. I'm gonna spell out again for the other two writers. So we were writers on it, and Noah Bosch and Harrison Orwig.
Yes.
Those two are out in LA. Yeah, they're doing great things right now. Like Noah likes to, we split it up. It was fun. We split it up by section. Noah loves to write beginnings. So Noah wrote the beginning, and then I wanted to do all the slasher, like blocking and action in the middle. So I did that part, and then Harrison and Daniel split the end. It's like Daniel did the climax, and then Harrison did the post-climax stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, it was just fun writing that as like, all right, these are like, we're not doing archetypes of like, this one is a slut, this one is a jock, that a lot of slasher like postmodern slashers like now we're doing. We were like,
like you're saying, but like you said, like. When you watch a horror movie, you can just look at the characters and be like, okay, there's a black guy, he's going to die. There's the overweight guy, probably going to die. Like, it's like, there's no mystery there. You can automatically sense, okay, the pretty girl with the glasses on, she's going to want to be the one who lives, because they're focusing on her the whole entire movie.
We were trying to avoid that. And I mean, but that's like all of the horror we've been focusing on Shock Tech. We did. I wrote and co-directed, and then Harrison Orwig co-directed and edited another horror movie called The House on the Lake, which is the one that I have to go work on later tonight. That's a silent religious horror movie. It's like
really,
yeah. It's like
religious, maybe a stretch.
It kind of,
it has characters in it are
priests
and such as part of it. Some of them
kind of in the vibe of like, is The Exorcist a religious movie? It's like it's fair. Where it's like it's not being like, and God is real and you need him or else you don't. But it is like, hey man, these crosses are working against the bad guy. I don't know what to tell you. But like that's the same thing where that one came from being like, what do we want to do?
Yeah.
Oh, we've been doing these silent shorts for class. That would be fun if we did an entire movie of that.
That was
what would look good? And then it happened.
That was a really cool experience, like just kind of from the outside watching the two of them craft it, because I was around and like talked things through, but like it was their baby more so, and that was like there were a lot of class projects that we had throughout our education at MSU that were make something this long and it is silent and that's what you have to go on, and we would always go for black and white 4x3 very classic silent movie and then go horror, and try and do like modern horror scares and things like that. And just watching the two of them, and I contributed one short that ended up in some of its ideas in the final, but watching that, those like smaller stories and those smaller ideas that were like these 2-3 minute long nuggets of a concept, and watching them go, oh, I really liked doing this, but I think I could do it better and I think I could do it more. And I think this really actually gloms onto this idea really well. And these two things coincide. And these characters don't really have much to do with each other, but they could both be in the same place if this and this happens. And like seeing all those things kind of come together. There's also a concept for an original version of The House on the Lake that did not get produced at all, that is just completely different.
I forgot about that.
Someday we'll come around to in some capacity, but
yeah,
it was also...
I told Daniel about it, and Daniel went, I won't do that. And I went,
oh, no. You shut it out.
And he was just like, there's a thing in here, you can do it, I won't be around for it. Like, think horror movie stuff, not anything like I wasn't saying like evil is good, we should murder everyone. But
the morals were still sound, but it was to a level that I was like, I'm just starting my career. I don't want this to be what I'm known for.
Now, is it easier for you to make a short film compared to a full length feature? Because some filmmakers say it's easier with a full-length feature because you can fully develop your characters and your story. And some say short films are easier.
It's hard because, like, we run short. We have this problem whenever we make a feature film. We make short movies without meaning to. Our first feature, which is a romantic drama called Hot Breath, Cold Air. It's on festival circuit right now. Please. We're hoping.
If you work for a festival, please put it in your rotation. Put it in your rotation.
We'd like people to see it. Since we're doing shout-outs, a wonderful man named Bill Vincent, who also has a cameo in The House on the Lake. He wrote and executive produced that movie. He's a great man.
Yes,
he was a big chef on The Evil Dead. I have to say that you'll like that one. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, but like that one, 90-page script. I'm in it for a page. Not even a movie, right? 1 hour and 2 minutes long. We get it done, and it gets done, and we go, this is barely a movie. It's a movie in, like, 1932. Like, it's not a movie. So
the big issue is we did not realize we had this problem until we'd already shot all three movies.
Oh.
So, because we shot
3 of them over one summer, basically. We started in April, and we finished production on the last one in August.
Yeah, we were. We did one, took a month to prep the next one. Did one, took a month to prep the next one. Did the last one. Which was crazy, but it was a very fun summer. Like that one came out short, and then House on the Lake is actually the longest one. I think the current edit is an hour and like 12 minutes, 15, something like that. Shock Jockey's like an hour 10.
And we ended up having to go back for reshoots on that one.
Yeah, we added 10 minutes.
It ran so short that we needed to add some additional scenes in the middle.
Yeah, we had to like lay out the plot, because that whole movie takes place over the course of one night. We had to lay out the plot on a whiteboard, like lay out all our scenes and be like, all right, this completely almost fully edited movie, like where is
the killer missing for 10 minutes?
Yes, like where are his whereabouts not known for 10 minutes? And we found a spot, and we were like, all right, this part we can put a scene here and not have it like break the rules.
So when you watch the movie, if you could figure out which one that is,
good on
you.
But like doing the short, having it come short, it's like part of it is like you never, when you're making something, you never want filler of any kind, which is true. But like in horror, we get used to it a ton. Like someone. Go ahead.
Why is that though? But I'm gonna say, why is that? Why? Because like in the '80s, they were wrapping up horror movies in like 60 to 80 minutes, but now horror movies have to be an hour and a half, if not two and a half hours. And I'm like, but why?
I mean, I think part of it is just an importance thing. It's like if it's longer, it's like it means more. I think part of it is just.
Also, movie tickets are so expensive. Like, that's obviously its own whole can of worms, but people want to get their money's worth if they're going to see something in theaters. Like,
I think part of it also is like especially speaking for indies, I think indies and big ones have kind of a separate problem, where it's like big studio movies, I think a lot of times there's a lack of a desire to cut things. There's a very large script that a ton of people had their hands on, and they go, okay, well, we should put this in, well, we should put that in, we should put this in. Then when they get to the edit, they're like, we shot all this stuff, we got to use it. And then, so you lead to a really long movie. And on the indie side, speaking from experience, if we tried not to do this, is like, oh shit, we have to make our movie a full movie. We got to hit 90 minutes. We're going to put in as much filler as like stuff we can as possible. Like, that's why I think like 80 slashers, there's like, I love so many. A lot of them are so boring in the middle, like the first half. Like you watch movies, like we watched Prom Night a little while ago. Fun movie. Nothing happens for an hour in Prom Night.
It's a lot of talking.
Yeah, and not even like interesting talking. It's just like two women taking a shower and being like,
I know.
Really, I think it's fun, and her being like, "Well,
I know, testing it out and everything."
This is not a character. What are we doing here? Like, so, but that exists because someone was like, "Well, we got to shoot the whole movie in 14 days, and we need to make an hour and a half. I know if I roll on these two talking in the shower, that's a minute. Quick, do it!" Like.
I mean, the last movie I saw was two. Like, one was an indie movie, Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 was 2.5 hours long.
I love Terrifier 2 so much.
But I felt like they could have took a good half an hour out of that movie, and it
probably
yeah. I just felt like it was a half an hour too long. And then and the Halloween Kills was another movie where you can tell that they put that whole hospital scene for a whole half an hour. Like, if you took that whole portion out, it would have been an amazing movie. But that whole hospital 30 minutes, it bored me to death.
We could do a full hour on Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Daniel especially has opinions about he has opinions about those. Daniel left Halloween Ends for 10 minutes in the middle. He stood up next to me and went, I need to leave right now. Walked out and then came back later because he was so frustrated.
It was just so much filler. It was like a half an hour filler in both of those movies, and I'm like, well, this would have been a good movie. You could have snipped this in the middle. It's right in the fucking middle of those movies. It's like it just drags for a whole half an hour. And you're like, there's no killing, there's no character development, there's nothing. It's just filler.
I showed up to watch Michael Myers kill people.
Exactly.
That's all I need. You could do that for 45 minutes and then say we're done, and I'd say perfect.
I know. I didn't want a huge PSA for mob mentality and mental health. I mean, mental illness in Michael Myers movie. I didn't want that PSA in a Michael Myers movie. I just wanted to be killing.
It's a different movie.
Exactly. It's not Michael Myers. You know.
That was when we were making Shock Jockey. One of the things was kill distribution. Was going, okay, we need to like we were talking about Scream earlier. It's like they reshot and added the principal's death because there was like a 40-minute stretch of the movie with no deaths. Like when we did Shock Jockey, we were part of being like, okay, this is all taking place over the course of one night, Halloween 2 style. Like we're not it's in this one spot, and we set up our plot very specifically, like not saying how, that there are deaths throughout the whole movie. We avoided pretty much, I think, completely the hour and 10 minutes of the final girl. Like, one, there is no final girl, but two, like, there's no hour and 10-minute stretch of her, like being like, wow, I haven't seen Becky in a long time.
I wonder what happened to Becky.
And anyway, back to this euchre game or some shit, or back to like doing my hair in front of a mirror topless. Like, we avoided that. The characters find out the murdering is happening like 20 minutes into Shock Jockey, and then they're like, shit, what do we do? Like,
Yeah.
and then when more murdering happens, we don't have to like find a way to hide it. They're just like, oh shit, someone died. I hate that. That's bad. Like,
Which also, I think, leads to just a real genuine fear, which I think our actors encapsulated
yeah,
really
they did a good
well,
job. They did a good
of
job.
like, they know that something bad is happening, and there is a killer on the loose, and it could come for them at any point. And it just kind of slowly builds in this, like, as if it's a natural disaster, like it is an unavoidable, things are happening. Which, looking back on it, had not thought of this before. Like I said, we shot that movie just right at the tail end of like the pandemic,
big lockdown.
quarantine.
Shooting
So-
3 movies under COVID, by the way. Well, we
Yeah.
did 5 total, but 3 under the big lockdown.
Yeah.
Crazy in itself. Not
Crazy
gonna
in
get into
itself.
it. One experience.
Yeah. So much prep work had to go into making sure everything was safe at every point, and like taking care of everyone and all of that. And whenever there was any sort of a scare, locking things down completely, which luckily happened very infrequently, because if it happened too much more, it would have torn it all apart.
Yeah.
But those actors were able to kind of like take that feeling of like, oh, we just went through this thing that is akin to a natural disaster, this force of nature coming through, and it is terrifying. And I think that definitely helped drive those performances.
I think so, yeah. I'm going to say on a lighter note, because we were talking about Halloween Kills. This is, in the early writing of Shock Jockey, Noah Bosch, he is a great writer. I'm going to, like, Noah, great writer. Because I'm going to say a thing that had to change, but, like, he's a great writer. Like, this is he had a thing in the beginning where they did it. The characters do a thing that was smart, but was, like, too smart for the movie, where they mapped out all of the bad guys' kills and were like, he's coming towards this spot. Like, and then they, like, planned around, and we were like, that's, like, a stretch. Like, they're panicking. Like, we can't really, like, do that. Like,
we can't expect them to have, like, spent all their time on this when they should be worried about saving lives.
And it doesn't
themselves.
gain the movie anything. Like, we'll just cut that. And you're like, yeah, okay, and you cut it. And then the trailer for Halloween Kills comes out, and there's that exact thing happens where they go, if you like, they got the guy playing Lonnie. He's like, if you track Michael's death, like kills, he's going towards his childhood home. And we were just sitting there watching it, being like, oh my god, they did the thing we were like.
We thought was too stupid to put in the movie.
We were like, oh man, they just did it. And like, not that we know any better. I'm going to say it. I like David Gordon Green. The 2018 Halloween movie, fantastic.
It was perfect.
Loved
it.
Great
Stop
movie.
right there. Should have stopped right there.
I was so excited for 2 sequels.
Yeah,
what a time.
Yeah, that was when we stood in the parking lot after Kills, and we're like, feel like we'll just ignore Kills, and then Ends will happen. It'll be the 2018 and Ends. Right? Also, again, Jim Cummings is in Kills, and we were seeing it in this, like, do you know who he is, that actor?
No.
He's an indie actor. He's a great director and actor. He has a movie called Thunder Road, Wolf of Snow Hollow, and The Beta Test. These 3 movies, they're all great. Thunder Road's fantastic. Not a horror movie, but it's fantastic. He's an indie act, like a small indie guy. He's in Halloween Kills. He's one of the deputies at the beginning. We're in a sold out theater for Kills. It's opening night. People are dressed as Michael Myers. Like, it's the best place possible. It's like Scream 2, the beginning of Scream 2. Like, it's fantastic. And Jim Cummings shows up on screen. Nobody reacts. Daniel and I turn and look at each other and go, okay, let's freak out. And no one else cares. And it was so funny. We both had a moment where we were just like, that can't. He's like our guy. Like, what? Like,
but Halloween Kills, look, Halloween Kills definitely insulted our intelligence. Like, it's been a while since I've seen a horror movie where like, wow, there can't be people that dumb. Like, it was just like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, okay.
Well,
like
Evil Dies Tonight.
Evil Dies Tonight. Did you remember Evil Dies Tonight?
Oh my god, Evil Dies Tonight a billion times.
Evil Dies Tonight.
But it was like, hey, let's ride in a car today, so we can work together as a gang and don't separate. But as soon as we see Michael Myers, we're gonna separate one-on-one. Like, what?
And also, he's Michael Myers. Like,
I love.
You can't get him.
I love the amount of times people like in this happens in every horror movie, but like especially in the Halloween movies where people with firearms like walk up to him.
I know, right up to his face and shoot him. And I'm like,
it's like okay, fellas, he's got arms and a knife, and you have a gun which can shoot a long way. Like just go backwards.
A gun does not work that way. But then also too, I've never seen so many police officers who's supposed to be trained how to use a gun, and Michael Myers is walking like a snail, and they're shooting him, and just the bullets just go right past him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, come on now.
There's the commentary. I love commentary tracks on movies. The commentary track for Halloween 5. Have you seen Halloween 5?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. There's the part. You're a horror person. I kind of assumed, but like, if someone like was like, I quit after Halloween 4, I'd be like, fair. But like, Halloween 5.
Halloween 4.
yeah, Halloween 4 is great. But but in Halloween 5, there's a part in the commentary where like the Michael Myers comes through a door and a cop shoots him like 5 times, and he slumps over, and the cop kind of look like, well, I got him, puts his gun away and starts doing other stuff, turns his back. And in the commentary, the director goes, this part doesn't make any sense. He's lived here. This cop has lived in Haddonfield his whole life. He should know this wouldn't work. Like, he should absolutely not put his gun away. He should reload and shoot him like 5 more times. Like,
exactly.
Even the director at that point is just like, we had to keep the movie going. Like,
but like, I was like, in that movie, I was like, there's no way, because it was Lonnie, I think, when he went into, when he told his son, he goes, hold on a second, I'm gonna go in this house and look for Michael Myers. And he was like, this motherfucker was killed instantly. Like, it was like in the fucking attic dead. Like, I'm like, what the hell's going on?
I love that so much. I like in a way where I'm like, oh, this is so silly. Like, but that's part of the fun of these, where it's like, even when they're bad, like a bad drama is very hard to sit through. A bad comedy is maybe one of the worst things that can happen to you watching a movie. But like watching a bad horror movie, like we watched, I'm not going to name it because it's more recent, but we watched a horror movie last night that neither of us particularly enjoyed. Daniel got extremely angry about it.
The characters don't make a logical decision ever.
They're continually putting themselves in more danger. But the thing was like, that was way more entertaining than watching like a bad comedy or a bad drama. Like, that was like, even as we were sitting there being like, this is really like, what's happening? Like, I'm just confused. Like, it's better to be doing that when like, I don't know, heads are getting cut off and like people are screaming and the monster's really really
Yeah, like, there's cool special effects.
Yeah, like guy got his head cut like in half and took a few steps and fell down. That shit was great. Like, rather be doing that than being like, well, these jokes aren't landing. I guess this city they're in is pretty. God, I love horror.
Daniel Ellison, where can everyone find you, my friend? Friends.
Evil Twin Digital on all social medias, at Evil Twin Digital. If you want to find us personally, I'm Dan J. Isabella on most social medias.
I'm Ellison Winterstein. There's no more of me. Just Google my name. I want to call out really quick, because we've talked about the other two. There's a third horror movie that Evil Twin Digital has made.
Oh, yes.
It is not, the edit is nowhere near done, which is why we don't have as much to talk about. It is directed and written by Harrison Orwig. It's called Hark the Angel. It is a Christmas-themed horror drama thing. It is very cool. Daniel is in it. That's part of the actor credit. Daniel is in it in a big way. Nice. Again, the edit's not done, so we don't have like, as much to talk about, and the writer director is not here.
Yes.
But like, just putting that out there, that movie is also very cool.
The most fun acting scene I have ever had in any movie ever. Not to put too more on it, but like really some interesting stuff.
Yeah, it was cool.
Well, if you guys don't mind, send me a copy of that once you get it finished, and then I'll have you guys back on, and we can talk about it.
Wonderful.
I will. Yeah, whenever any of these come out, the hardest part of making movies is getting people to see them. Like, make 5 of these things. The hardest part is getting people to watch them, like, and not even watch them, just that they can see them.
If any of these movies sound interesting to you, the trailers to 4 out of our 5 features.
4, right. Hark has a trailer.
Hark has a trailer. And also, tons of the shorts that we've done are all available on our YouTube channel. Also, Evil Twin Digital.
We also did a bunch of comedy sketches. We never mentioned that. There's like dozens of them. So those are there. Those didn't come up in this horror conversation.
I'm going to say, if you want to go down into the description box, the link for their YouTube will be down there. So make sure to click, watch, like, and subscribe to their channel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Daniel, listen, this was fun, man.
Thanks.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys are more than welcome to come back on any time.
Thank you.
And by the way, I'm being serious. I want to see your movies and then have you come back on, and we can just.
I realized I should mention this. Did you see Skinamarink?
All right. All right, Sean, can we go into the Skinamarink?
I
hate that movie. Oh,
you hate it?
I hate that movie.
But so you've seen it?
I have.
We did a sketch. You can find it called Seinfeldamarink. That is, it's an episode of Seinfeld, but it's seen through the lens.
I
shouldn't say I hate the movie because I interviewed Jamie Hill from that movie.
Oh,
I don't hate. But I don't hate that movie. I just don't get it.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I just don't get it. Like it's not a movie that I would recommend to someone, or I would be like, oh, I'm gonna rewatch Skinamarink again. Like it's not.
Yeah, we'll call out my Skinamarink and my Heck VHS copies that I've got on that wall that were a gift from just the sound guy and the editor of a bunch of our stuff. I like that one, but like I get it though. Yeah. When you say I don't get it, I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I love Blair Witch, and people look at me while I say like Blair Witch Project. I'm like, yeah, I love the original one.
I love Blair Witch. My dad hates Blair Witch. I heard for years Blair Witch is terrible. Then I watched and I was like, he's wrong. This is fantastic. I love this movie.
It is. It's amazing. Now the second one is definitely a piece of shit, but
I haven't seen it.
The original, please don't watch it. It's a waste of time. But like the reason why I hated part 2 was because the first one was this low budget indie found footage movie, and it was less, but less was more. Part 2 had a big budget. It didn't have the same look, and didn't have the same story, and it had the same feel. And it made absolutely no sense.
We've having done some bigger productions, when you put money in front of people, like they want it. And that's no discredit to the quality of those people as individuals or to the quality of the products. Like that's just how it, like when people get used to hearing like, oh, I always get, like, we always take 3 days per, like, conversation scene. And if you go, you don't need that. Do it in 1. They go, but I've always done it in 3.
I've always done it in 3.
And it's like, okay, but, like, you don't have the money, so do it. Like, just get it done. But, like, if you have all that money, then...
Sure.
Yeah, then you give them the money, and then it takes the 3 days, and then
it's not better for it.
It's not better for it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
The actors are disjointed.
Yeah, so like that leads to stuff like that where it is just like it's like, how did this happen? Why did it get this way? It's like the money was there. It was the bloat was there. That's the big thing.
Because I think the first one was made for $15,000, and I think the second one was made for like $5 million, which is a huge different amount. And like I hear some people say, "Oh, well, if I had more money, I only made this one 15, but if I had millions of dollars, the movie would be way better." But I don't think that's always true.
You gotta match the things. Is you gotta match. I'm speaking out of turn because like you gotta match the amount of what you're doing to that money. Like $5 million is a ton of money, like a ton of money for a movie where people sit around and talk at tables. it's crazy fucking low for like a movie where there's like dragons and like, or like it's World War II. Like, so just like scale
your project.
Yes, like so you don't have like if someone's like, we have $5 million, it's just like, cool, all right, hire Tony Todd. Like put him in a movie and shoot it in 10 days. Like you know, be like oh, we have an extra $1 million for this. Okay, for that one part where we were gonna just have their truck like stop, have the zombies get the truck and it blows up and it flips like 3 times. Like do that, being like, well, you know, now we can have 4 extra days.
Now we can spend 4 days filming a 2-page conversation.
Yeah, that part of the diner, we need to like actually build a diner. It's like, no, like I'm gonna use the hire Tony Todd again example. Like, just like, you know, be like, $1 million, Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo's in the movie. Like,
Danny Trejo would be amazing. Yes.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, you just gotta scale it so you don't have.
But $5 million for a Blair Witch movie, I feel like you can get Danny Trejo and Tony Todd to be in the movie. To be honest,
that would be so fun. I'm just imagining like they're doing like interviews in Burkittsville, and it's just Tony Todd's just there with this like super creepy voice. He's just like, well, you know, the witch takes people. Like,
I know, and the Danny Trejo's like, all right, there's a fucking witches in the woods. Let's get the fuck out of here. Like, that would be hilarious. I would love that.
Funny.
We'll get on that one.
They missed out on it was the comedy Blair Witch sequel. I mean, there's the video. There's a video game for Blair Witch that has like kung fu fights. That's from the early 2000s. You can Google that if you want.
I hear it's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, that sounds like what we're talking about. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up.
Yeah, no, we just totally. I love going to rants. By the way, I don't hate Skinamarink. Okay, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand the movie.
We ragged on Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends this whole time, but like, I'm happy they exist.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm.
No, I'm not.
I was sort of like, I'm happy that they like. I wanted something different, and I'm, you know, like I was upset that I didn't get those things, but like at the same time, I'm happy they took a risk on stuff and they tried something cool and new.
Yeah.
Like, when stuff was happening, Halloween Ends, a lot of it I didn't like, but like I'm glad that they took the shot. Like, you know, it'd be cooler if I thought it worked, but like I appreciate that they did the thing. You know, like there's something to that. I think like I respect it even if it's not exactly what I enjoy. So like I get you when you're like Marink, you don't hate it, like you just don't get it. Like like.
Now, when did the Pooh, Blood and Honey? I fucking hate that movie. I really did. Listen, but that's all. But don't get me on that fucking rant.
I haven't. I know vaguely what happens in it. I know the sequel comes out this year.
Oh my god! Yeah, don't get me on. I don't bash indie filmmakers, but that was a fucking cash grab. They weren't even fucking trying. They just got the public domain and just made a shitty movie because they knew people were going to come to see it.
I mean, this sounds, I don't know. There's something to be said for, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't like say what I think of it. I haven't seen it, but like when it comes to like the idea of like selling out, like I understand it, like in a way, like as people who are like struggling to make something, like
I'd love to have the profits of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey to make the rest of my passion projects with.
Yeah, I understand like you hating that movie. Absolutely A+, like go for it. Like obviously you are allowed to have your opinion and like, hate it, and it's valid. But like I would be disappointed if that filmmaker or that team just made that same movie.
They never did anything.
They never did anything else. But if they did a couple years of Blood and Honey style movies and then just did like random like whatever the hell they wanted to, or even if they just retired and like put their kids through college, like like as long as that's not like what they wanted to do was to like make money, like as long as like there was the art somewhere in them, like you can hate that movie, but like I'm hoping for you and for us that like because like if someone came to us and was just like, hey, do you want to do like the 18th sequel to this horror series and we'll pay you a bunch of money, we'd be like, cool, and then we'll go make a bunch of other shit that we actually want to do.
Okay, here's one. They come to you and say, here's a bunch of money. let's make Animaniacs into a horror movie.
That's a challenge. That's a challenge.
Oh, I thought you were going to be afraid of that one.
Oh, no.
I know you love Animaniacs.
I love Animaniacs. I grew up on Animaniacs. I love it. That's a challenge there. That's fun. Okay. Well, because you could use all of their like meta cartoon shit, and like, I mean, you have the established characters because you've got like, you could do something, but because there's a meta element there, so you could have fun with the idea of like, this is how stupid these like rip-off mascot horror movies are, where it's like they know they're in one. Like, yeah, you can use something fun with that, right?
Yeah, once you said the meta element, like obviously that is the Animaniacs.
Yeah, so like, see, you can do something with that. How much money are we talking here?
$5 million.
Yes, $5 million. We will make the movie for one, and then have $4 million for other things. Actually, we'll make her $500,000.
Yeah,
right? We'll make her $500,000.
Spend $500,000 on animating the Animaniacs.
Yeah, you're true. Actually, I forgot. Right.
But I say, if you do the Animaniacs, I mean, don't you got to have the hippos, and don't you got to have all of the little side characters too?
What's it, Buttons and Mindy, and like all the.
The little girl that blows up. What's her name? Kitty Kaboom. Yeah, you got to have her.
Yeah, that would.
You can get the modern ones. You get the little alien who's in the sandbox.
Yeah, from the new ones. Like, did you watch the Hulu show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hulu show. That was wild. That was a mixed bag. We watched those, and we were like,
some of them are great, and some of
them
are.
But
it's like the Beavis and Buttheads. It's like the new season or the new ones of Beavis and Butthead. It's like,
we run into this thing where when we love certain television, we analyze it like great television. We'll just love it. Like when like The Bear. Like whenever we watch The Bear, we just love The Bear. Like we just watch.
I hear it's good.
It's amazing. But like there's some stuff like we loved this TV show Central Park. Like we loved that show, which is the animated musical on Apple TV Plus from the team who did Bob's Burgers. And like we watched the first season, great, stupendous,
almost the perfect season of television.
Yeah. And then the second season and the third season like kind of go to. So we found this thing where we would watch episodes and we would be like nitpicking the shit.
Like, where did this go?
We'd be like,
I can't do that.
Right, but it's too early in the episode. Like, we'd be going so into detail about it, and it was like,
I can't do that.
It's because we like love this thing, but it's not.
I will abandon a show quick. I'll abandon a show real fucking like when it starts getting jumping the shark. Like, I will abandon a show. I mean, I did it to Walking Dead. I did it to True Blood. I even did it recently to Lincoln Lawyer. Like, the first season was so great, and then the second season, I watched 2 episodes. Like, oh, this is bad, and I just couldn't go on any further.
I'm trying to. We didn't. Where did we drop? We dropped History of the World Part 2. We didn't watch that. We watched 1, and we were like, "Oh, this isn't funny."
It's not as good as
the movie. What else did we? We've had a few things where we like.
We've gotten an episode or 2 in and usually dropped it, but
yeah, we won't like go too far.
I don't know. If I watch a full season of great television, I'm inclined to see where it goes for at least like 3 more years.
It's also if it has something like I've seen all of the X-Files, all of it. I have a giant. You can't see it, but I have the big Blu-ray set that's like this wide. Have you seen all of the X-Files? It's
the best scene. I think good. I checked out. So, by the way, the first X-Files movie was absolutely amazing. The second one, I think they waited too long before when the show was off.
You saw the second one.
Oh, I saw the second one. Okay, it was fine.
Okay. I've seen all of the X-Files, and that show.
Even like the reboot.
Yes. No. I
didn't see the reboot.
Okay. There's no good reason I should have watched it. Like around like midway through like season 7, like halfway through season 7, like there's 1 or 2 good episodes, and then the rest are bad. And like I still watched it because like, God, there's nothing else like it. It's just I wanted that fix, and I got it, even if it wasn't what it used to be. Like that's why I'll still watch like the 8th or the like when Halloween, what is it, 14? I think the next one will be when Halloween 14 or something like that comes out. I'll watch it. Like I'll go to a theater and watch it because I love it. Like, you know, I'll watch. I love that Texas Chainsaw movie that came out a couple years ago. I'll do that for like all of
I hate that movie. Oh my goodness, man! See, that last Texas Chainsaw on Netflix, I fucking hate. Well, listen, that was the best Leatherface. That was not the best. That was a great Leatherface.
Oh, he was
great
good. He was real scary.
Yeah, he's a nice guy too. I actually met him.
Really?
Yeah, and but the characters, I mean, especially the two sisters. I was cheering for the damn redneck with the guns. Like, I don't know why. He was the best. He was the most likable character out of anybody there.
There's something about it was so light and breezy, and it was so like because it's what, it's like 76 minutes long or something like that. It's so short, and yeah, I think it's 76 minutes without credits, and they set up all these people, and they're just like, yeah, man, all of these people suck, and they're gonna do all these awful things, and then they set up the guy with the giant chainsaw who's scary, and I'm just like, oh man, they're gonna get got, and then they get got. Like, if there was like 6 more that were just that, I would be a little, I would be perturbed by that. I wouldn't want that. But like, man, I sat down and watched that, and I came out and I was like, I feel good right now. Like,
really?
Yeah, I was just like, I feel energized. Like, I went to lunch with people afterwards, and I was just like, not even gonna watch horror movies, but you got to see Texas Chainsaw. There's a part where a lady crawls out of a bus window and gets cut in half, and it's awesome. Like,
I'm just saying, I hated every single character except for the guy who I thought I was going to hate, the redneck with the pickup truck and the gun. I was like, oh, I'm going to hate this character. And then, like, I felt bad when he died. I was like, oh, by the way, no spoiler. Listen, if you haven't watched the fucking movie by now on Netflix, then this is not.
I mean, also, who
Shame
thinks
on you.
that most of the cast of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is going to get out of there? Yeah, like,
No.
They're not known for like Scream, where it's like, oh, all of our leads made it out again. Like, it's like, oh no, they're done.
Speaking of Scream 6, I absolutely love Scream 6. I actually rank Scream 6 probably higher than most people do. I say it's the second best one, but behind the original. But at the same time, what was that?
I put it at 3. 2 is my favorite.
He loves Scream
and then
2.
1, and then 6. But
So I do
agreed.
163. 162. So in the same area,
Yeah.
but it's kind of weird that mostly everybody survived in that movie.
We saw that on my birthday when it came out, and we saw it at the Plaza Theater, which is this like very old movie house. Like, there's a great old movie house theater in Atlanta that like we love. Daniel has called it our church. It's great. We love them. And we were watching Scream 6, and it was the crowd was great, and like it was my birthday. We were having a great time, and like, I get that. That is a good criticism. That is like, it is weird that all of those characters make it out alive, but like, it was fun to like leave that being like, and they won,
And they won.
like that works
Yeah.
that day, as opposed to like leaving Scream 5 where you're like, shit, man, Dewey's dead. Like, I love Dewey, and Dewey's dead. Like, I got to deal with that.
But the whole trailer to the build up to that movie was, no one's going to survive, and he was the most ruthless Ghostface I've ever seen in a Scream movie. I mean, listen, it was ruthless, and like, but the whole premise was that no one was going to survive, or hardly anyone was going to survive, and fucking everyone survived. Like, what?
Yeah. I didn't watch any trailers for Scream 6. I remember I was
avoided them.
yeah, anytime we were in a movie, I did that for Evil Dead Rise, same thing. Like, I tried to do that for Annabelle, but Abigail, but I couldn't manage it. I saw it in front of people. Like, that was one where I was just like, I'm not hearing anything about it. I made it all the way to it without knowing anything, which was hard.
So since we're an hour in, so what did you guys think about Thanksgiving? Have you guys seen Thanksgiving?
The news that happened today as we're recording this?
Yes.
For
The
Scream
movie.
7. Is that what you said?
The movie Thanksgiving.
Oh, sorry. I heard
Eli Roth.
Scream 7. Sorry. Thanksgiving? Oh, you should.
Oh, I love Scream movies, and the biggest reason I didn't get into horror earlier is if something is too gory, I don't dig it. Like, I love a good practical effect, but like if it's too much, and the turkey bit for me, that was like, but also, we'll just involuntarily pass out sometimes, so I do have to be careful.
Watching The Thing with him in the theater was really fun.
I had to be real careful.
Oh.
Love The Thing. Love the effects.
Thanks, Miss-
Was very worried that I was gonna like people were gonna be worried about me in public if I passed out.
By the way, great because he also did a bunch of the gore effects for Shock Jockey.
Yes,
and
so-
dies. Can I? I'm going to spoil your. Is that okay? Because you're not.
Sure.
He dies pretty horribly. He's not like a big character. Daniel dies in that movie. Pretty bloody, like, and it was funny doing it. He was like having a great time, but I love Thanksgiving. I have seen Thanksgiving 3 times. I love Thanksgiving. I had such a fun time with Thanksgiving, which sucks because I hear Eli Roth's like not a great person, like on a like moral level. You're gonna get the he's getting out the he's getting out the John Carver mask that I love Thanksgiving. I had so much fun. I loved how I saw it in a theater. I saw it at the Plaza. I saw it in a theater sitting with Justin Heiler, worked on all these movies, great guy. And sitting down the row from us were a group of people who had never seen a horror movie ever in their entire lives, but we're doing running commentary, and it was perfect. This lady goes during the part in the diner, like early on, she goes like, "Oh man, that lady's gonna die," and I'm just sitting there, just like, "Fucking duh!" Like that's what we're here for. She was there was the part where they're like walking into the school when they definitely shouldn't be, and one of those lady went, "How did white people take over the earth?"
But weren't they some of the most unlikable fucking characters? I mean, I talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and okay. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen the movie, spoiler. Okay, spoiler. But these fucking assholes, the fucking kids in this movie, cause a whole bunch of fucking people to fucking die. Like, why should I feel sorry for them getting murdered? Like, that's crazy. I mean, and they did it in the most douchebag way. Everybody, we're inside the store. Look, no. You know what I mean? And it was like, what? Like, how am I supposed to feel these kids are douchebags?
Daniel has a good reading on things of this.
I feel like if, for the fun of a horror movie, like, I want the characters who I know are going to get killed. If it's a kind of movie where I'm going in and I know who's going to die pretty instantly, I want to hate them. Because then I can cheer for the villain as they murder them. And I can say, good job. And I can be proud. And I can just go, wow, they really tore that asshole to shit.
like that's like the fun difference of like some slasher horror or horror movies where like they have likable characters and you're worried for their safety. And then ones where you're just like, these fucking idiots, they're gonna get got.
If you're gonna go for like a really intense, like someone gets their head chopped fully down the middle, like I don't remember that happening in thanks.
I'm thinking something like Hatchet.
We
watched all the Hatchet movies this past summer.
But like if you go for like a really nasty death, I want to be able to enjoy it. Like obviously if someone like gets stabbed and like it can be sad, but for me, if I'm gonna relish in the kill, I have to also be okay with that character not being alive.
Yeah. I totally agree. I wanted all of them to die. Like even like the final girl. I hated every single character except for the boyfriend who was the nice guy who she liked. Yeah, I like this character.
Oh, I was so when that came out, when Thanksgiving came out, I was so happy because like that era of slashers in the early 80s, we're doing I don't know when this will come out. We're getting back. We're doing our first horror piece, like full horror short
down here in Atlanta.
Yeah, that we've done in Atlanta, and it's in reference to that period. It's mostly based around like Maniac, like the William Lustig like Maniac from 1980. But like that period of slasher movies from like 1980 to like 1983, like that's my favorite. I love it. I love them so much, and like Scream was like the reference point for Thanksgiving and for a lot of people. But I loved being like, this is my Bloody Valentine. Like, this is the Prowler. Like I love the Prowler. I love the Prowler. I love the Prowler so much.
I visited some of the locations from the Prowler this summer. It was very cool.
Yeah. In New Jersey, Cape May, right?
Cape May, New Jersey, where my parents got married.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, my partner got me the Prowler soundtrack on vinyl for my birthday. But like movies like that, where like I was so happy to be like, oh, this is those whodunit slashers that are kind of stupid. Like they're not good. Like the Scream movies are good mysteries in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
These whodunit slashers are fucking terrible mysteries. Like the Prowler has like 4 suspects, and it's just like there's no clues. They just kind of walk around. They're like, well, Major Chatham, are you here? Well, you haven't seen Major Chatham in a while. I guess it wasn't him. like they do stuff like that, and like watching Thanksgiving and being like, oh, this is that shit again. This is that shit where the way we narrow down the suspect list is like, I think maybe Brian did it, and Brian gets his head taken off with a belt sander.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I guess it wasn't Brian. I was so happy to see that back. Like, oh, that was why I enjoyed it.
All right, guys. Well, listen.
Yeah, sorry.
We
It's been a
totally
pleasure.
derailed the end of this
No,
podcast.
listen. I love this. I go on rants myself, so this was fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm
Thank you.
Travis Bruce. See you guys next time.
See you next time.
Bye.